Welcome everyone to the Your Little Castle show. There are many times in our life where I feel like there's an effort we must make to kind of categorize things. Like, where does this fall into my life? How should I evaluate this? Mike, our guest here today, Mike, I'm going to practice your name one time. Galbally. Galbally. Okay.
Yeah, Mike Galbally.
I'll say it right every time after this. I'll try. I might. Galbally. And we did practice. I still mess it up, but that's okay.
It's okay.
We're even going to continue rolling here anyway. But Mike is one of those people, I would say, where you never know who's in the room. He's not one of the guys that's like, hey, everybody. He's like kind of subtle and professional. And then you start to realize you're a mogul, man. I mean, I hate to say it like that.
I thank you for that.
Is that too much? I mean, but I mean, literally, if you look at Mike's history with regard to what he has done in our little community here, it's pretty impressive what he's done in our little city of St. Louis, much less the Midwest region, and that, for that matter, across the country. When you put yourself up against people to do the same thing you do nationally, I'd say you're I wouldn't even say the number we said before, but he's in the top very high percentage of the people in the world to do what you do.
We help a lot of buyers and sellers.
And so that's just neat to have somebody like you on our set today, because it is amazing who it is you don't realize is in studio with you and talking, and then you go, wow. So if you're going to listen to anything anybody says today with regard to real estate, Mike is your expert here, and he will help you to get that information out. But Mike is a guru. So with that, I'm going to leave up what we've got on the screen behind us here. Shout out to our sponsors, and we want to give them a shout out because they do a lot to help make all of this happen, obviously. And so Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things we come up with this one recently, Your Little Castle, right?
Oh, I love it.
And we kind of stole that from the perspective that you like nice things. We all like nice things, but in Your Little Castle, I took the your from like give them ownership, make it their possession, right?
Who doesn't love their little castle?
And so it's great to have Brooke and Amy and Carroll House as sponsors on the show. We just really appreciate having all of what they bring to what we do here and them as a sponsor. So with that also, then we do talk about, this is directly tied into what we're doing here, USA Mortgage, the Flowers team, and you can see on the screen behind me, there it is, Steve Flowers, Emily Flowers, powered by the Flowers team. That's what we do here. And then I always then take it, it's my honor here, everybody, to put up on the screen behind me, this is Mike's website. And so when you get into showing off what people do, websites are the key to putting what you do out there. And look at this on the screen there. It is Finest Homes Network, serving St. Louis and St. Charles County, finesthomesnetwork.com.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Carter.
Pretty cool.
And as you said, we put out what we do, and it's pretty short and sweet. What are your real estate goals? So that's what's important to us, is what's important to you, and we're here to help your goals and make them a reality.
Well, Mike, with that, I say I turn it over to you, man. I tried to do a little of an intro there because you've got a lot I could talk about with regard to what you've done in this industry, but I'm going to scroll down a little bit there so people can get a look at a little more of what you've got on your website. But take a look at that. Why did you decide to get into the real estate world?
That's a great question. So I got into real estate in 2009. I actually worked for a national grocer, brought me out to the area, and after a while I just got tired of that corporate lifestyle, and I had an interest in housing, and I did not have a good experience my first home purchase. I actually built a home with a builder. Turned out I didn't really know what I was doing because I was a first-time home buyer, and I came to the builder unrepresented. I thought the lady that was working there worked for me too, but the reality was, really her allegiance was to the builder, and when things did not go right, basically she was on the builder's side. Not that she was a bad lady, she was actually a very nice lady, but it just, I didn't have anybody ultimately looking out for my best interest, and I learned that that was really important, and so I want to make a difference in this industry.
So a lot of people get into real estate because they're like, I can make a lot of money. Not really the case. You felt like, man, I got to do this thing the right way because I didn't feel like things necessarily were what you wanted them to be if somebody did.
Yeah, no, I mean, there definitely was a financial benefit to doing a good job in the business, but ultimately it came down to we really wanted to take care of our clients because most of our business does come from our past clients and referrals, and we want to keep doing a great job for them because that keeps them happy and coming back and allows us to be a part of their life.
So when you talk about the success that you've had, and believe me, Mike has had some incredible success. What do you think it is that led you here, that got you to this? A little bit about the path.
Yeah,
Because you got started relatively young too. A lot of people.
I did. I got started in my late 20s, and ultimately, I mean, I just wanted something that I would have a little more flexibility. But the reality was, as you start building a business and clientele and working with buyers and sellers, you were always working. And so flexibility was the first thing that came to mind, but then it really was the last thing. It became more of you controlled your own schedule, but you still worked a lot.
Right, and the money is there, but it's also for a really good cause, because from the perspective that people need. I mean, not like we're doing charity work, but people have to have a place to live, right?
They do.
If you don't have a place to live, life is kind of difficult in this country.
Yeah, and honestly, in the last couple of years, housing prices has gone up quite a bit, especially in desirable areas, and so it is a little bit tougher. So we always want to do the best job possible, and we want people to get a home that's really going to make a difference in their life, because they are paying a little bit more now overall than they were in the past.
Well, like I said, it's a pleasure to have you on here. We'll talk a little bit more about some of your expertise. You can see I'm going to put up briefly here, if you look on the walls, we've got multiple TV walls in the studio now. Most people have seen the show for a while, and we added the second wall. It was our portable one. We're not taking it anywhere. Let's use it in the studio. But really some great information. If somebody really wants to get into where they do want to get to find a house, you've got the listings all there and well documented, well detailed, so that when it comes down to it, the information is readily available. Something you had on your website here that I thought was kind of neat, that we showed in our pregame prep, we call it, but let me click forward here. This is the market snapshot, and talk a little bit about this as I put it up on the screen here. And,
yeah, this is a cool tool. So you want to keep in touch with what your neighborhood, your area, your zip code, your county is doing. You can sign up on our website for our market snapshot, and you'll get the up-to-date list of all the listings that come to the market, sell, and go pending, and keep you in the loop. At the same time, if you ever need any help, we're just a click or a phone call away to help you out.
Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, that's very good, important information. I'm going to put it on the screen again here. We're going to switch over here back to your website. I mean, if people they want to search for homes, click right here in this button right in the middle of the screen, and they've got at their fingertips most all the listings. What region do you? Is this for everything?
Yeah, well, we cover through like our
service.
area is 53 counties surrounding St. Louis, all in Missouri. We have agents that we work with in Illinois, but our team doesn't actually service Illinois, but throughout the St. Louis metro area. So you could search anything within our territory and the surrounding area. But we want to make it nice and easy so that you just come to our site and get what you want, right? You want to search for homes, are right there. You want to sell your home, you can get a quick evaluation, or you can get in touch with us and I can give you a detailed evaluation to exactly what it's going to sell for.
Okay. And I can't overemphasize this enough, but Mike and I, we both are kind of you call yourself maybe a bit of a brainiac. You can't sleep at night.
I like to self-educate.
Right, yeah. Be on the ball, learn a little bit more than the average person may be really willing to listen to, but at least you have that knowledge in your brain. It sounds like you're that type. As I've gotten to know you and seen some of the success that you've had, I'm like, this guy really knows his stuff, and that's because well-informed. Like I think you said earlier, the interwebs are available to everybody, and the information's out there.
You could literally get a better college degree just by watching YouTube videos than you probably can get into in a university. So this is just, you can learn anything you want on the internet, and I didn't have that when I was a kid. It's just started coming out, so it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah. So with that, years of experience, we talked about this a little. Tell everybody what's your years of experience? Say I started in, and so this.
Yeah. So I purchased my first home in 2005, but then I got licensed in 2009, and so I've been doing it for this will be our 14th year now, and so that's allowed me to help. We're almost about 1,500 clients served so far, and that's been growing due to our referrals from our past clients. The biggest thing I would say is that, we have that experience. And so when you're looking for somebody to help you with this process, I mean, the average person only moves, on the high side 5 to 6 times, from a house to a house. So
in their life.
In their life. And so we've helped, 1,500 people. And so we've had 1,500 experiences. Some of them obviously go extremely smoothly, most of them, in fact. But some of them, we got some hurdles. And there is not a thing that happens in a real estate transaction that I have not seen. So anything that comes up, that I got your back, and that's my job, is to look out for you.
I wanted to make sure everybody heard that, and I wanted you guys to see my expression. Say that again. How many houses, Mike?
We're right at about 1,500.
15, not 15.
Over the course of
not
my career.
150. 1,500. I started doing the math. I'm like, you're doing like 100 and something houses a year.
Yeah. So we had our best year.
And you run the team.
Yeah, we had our best year in 2021. Market was crazy. We helped, I think it was 229 families. Last year we helped close to 200. And this year our goal is to help 250 people. We feel like the market is very strong. We feel like buyers don't have to fight so much for the properties that they used to have to fight for in the last couple of years. Interest rates are a little bit higher, but they're still lower than when I bought a house. They're still lower than when your family bought a house in the 90s and 80s. So at this point in time, I mean, there's no reason why you should keep paying your landlord. You invest in a house. And honestly, me personally, one of the things that I enjoy is helping clients build wealth through real estate. Most of my wealth has been built through real estate, and I want other people to build wealth in the same way.
It took me a long time to really figure out the fact that why is real estate so lucrative? And it boils down to what we were talking about earlier. It's kind of everybody likes to have residual money. They can come on a monthly basis, but people always have to have a place to live. People don't always have to have, a tennis racket.
Right.
You go to golf clubs. There's things that they don't have to have, but people will sell those, and the golf companies make money and all that. But you have to have a place to live, and that just seems like where and as the population continues to grow and more people that are on this planet that need housing, I mean, that's always going to be a hot market, and mostly. Which I think you really get to help people with is giving them a nice place that they can afford. It fits all the amenities and everything they need. I know a little bit about this as a licensed loan officer. Obviously, you've got to find the right demographic area that they want with the school districts that they want and the amenities that they need. If they have special needs, if they have to be close to the firehouse, for emergency purposes or whatever. And is that kind of some of the stuff you specialize? I'm assuming as a data guy, that's right up your alley. I know Mike's going to talk about that.
So yeah, when we meet with clients, I mean, we want to know where they're going to move to. So whether I'm meeting with somebody that's buying a house for their first time or they're going to sell a house to buy their next house, the first conversation we have is where you're going to go. I mean, people want to know where their next home is. I mean, we talk about that before we ever talk about how much we can get for their house, because we want to know where they're going to be going, so that we can get them to their dream. And for me, investing in real estate was another avenue to help people. So I have multiple rental properties, and everybody that I've ever rented a house or a condo, a townhome to, that I personally owned, has been great people. And for whatever reason, it either wasn't the right time for them to purchase a house, or honestly, they just didn't have the means, credit, or income, but they made sense to rent the property too. And these are great people that care about the property and help me by taking care of it. And here's the thing is, there is a financial benefit to me because I leverage other people's money. So
right,
you can go
get a loan
a bunch of different ways with this. Dave Ramsey will teach that you take the shortest loan amortization time possible and pay it off as quickly as possible. But in my opinion, if you can borrow somebody else's money, turn that around and collect more for it every month, why wouldn't you do that and then just repeat?
Well, I've got to jump in here a little bit to say, ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a close this segment, but we're going to continue talking. And if you want to watch the full interview, because we're going to go on for as long as I feel necessary, because this guy's brain is filled with tons of knowledge. Take a look, if you will. I'm going to put up on the TV wall one more thing before we switch over to the extended version here. This is the reviews Mike has for his team. 89 reviews of 5.0. And if you get over here to Zillow does a similar thing, and look there, 74 more reviews, 4.9. So that's just a little sample of what he's done. And when you get into looking for the people who do the best work, it's nice to have a guy like Mike that you can talk to that will help you, and he and his team can help with that. So with that, we're going to carry on right into the second part, second 2/3 of our interview here, because I really want to continue. So you can watch the whole thing, this extended interview, on YouTube or our Facebook. A lot of times the whole video's out there. They chop it up for us a little bit, or Instagram and TikTok. Those are all the big networks. We have some of our videos have been watched 195,000 times. We've got a little bit of a following out there, and we really want to help spread the word for the good leaders in our community, like Mike. They're doing a great job. So with that, let me jump into, this is the important part. If you haven't cut out just yet, market trends we're going to talk about now, everybody. So if you're getting ready to leave, or this is the end of the show for this segment that's going to air on ABC, go check out the rest of this interview, because we're going to talk right now about market trends, and that's really important with regard to the whole economy and everything that's going on, the time of year. Well, howdy doody. It's fun. I have to say this almost every show, I feel like, because we get to meet so many cool, extraordinary leaders in the community who really do fun stuff. I mean, when you talk about housing and where people put their families and where you live, wow, there's a lot that goes into that. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, if you will, today our guest. You can see in studio, there she is. This is Sharon Chapman, Chapman Design. Sharon Chapman Design, there she is. And it is, I'm Carter. You see me coming in on the screen over here, everybody. We've got our camera guy working hard to rotate our camera further. Thanks, camera guy, highly paid, but not highly priced. But he does a great job. We love having fun people on to talk about how do you make it so that somebody has a household, a place to live, something where they enjoy. And one of the most important things for people is to have that interior design.
Yes,
welcome Sharon to the show here.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on your show, and yeah, we love to work with clients and give them a sanctuary to live within, and their home is supposed to be that place. So kitchens and baths and all of that are the dream.
Well, and yeah, so many people, they end up with a situation where they've got a nice looking place, but within 20 years, it's outdated. Is that true? Very often people are like, I know the Joneses over here got something, and especially interesting pregame prep, everybody. We were talking, when you have an apartment complex, they got to keep up.
Absolutely.
And you help with apartment complexes. Talk a little bit about your history and what you've done.
Yeah, well, I started Sharon Chapman Design in 2018 when we were working with the apartment properties, and we went in with the architects and the developers, and we designed the full interior of the apartment properties. So we were doing the kitchens and bathrooms and flooring and paint and tile and everything in the units themselves. And then once we went into the corridors, then we went into the public space, and then the general contractor would spec all that out, or would send all of that out to bid. And once the building was complete, we would come back in and we would stage all the public spaces and the design and the displays and the leasing offices. And so it came down to that this is what you see. So in the images behind us is our website with all of our beautiful work on it. So it's great because the leasing managers, they always love us when they see us walk in the door, because they know that we're going to make their job easy. When they've got a resident that is going to walk in the door and say, wow, this is where I want to live.
Well, and that's, I think, essential for the success of anyone. Everybody, I want this and I want that, I want it to be done, but you got to do it right. And so that is obviously some of the work. I want to show quickly up on the wall up here for everybody. This is your website, SharonChapmanDesign.com, right?
Yes.
And here's some of your work. You can actually schedule Sharon right there on the website, but incredible stuff. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, somebody who's going after it, you got great looking stuff there, obviously. And with that, I'm also going to switch over to our other screen here. Sharon's got a Facebook page there, and you can really see a lot of her work there too. I see you're posting on a pretty regular basis, and you can see a lot of the work you do, get to know you a little bit. You've got a lot of followers, a lot of supporters, a lot of people enjoy what you're doing.
Yes.
I'm also going to jump over one more time to show everybody your review. You got some great reviews. We'll just show one of them here. If you're looking for people with friendly attitudes and a great work ethic, look no further than these designers. We had the pleasure of making the window treatments for Soulard new apartment complex that opened 1400 Russell. I know that building.
Yes.
I used to work, when I worked for Anheuser-Busch, we were
You were right down the street.
Down the street from that building. And just installed beautiful gourmet panels and modern cornice, okay, at the Crystal Lake Display Home in Illinois. All were staged and designed by Sharon Chapman Design, LLC. It was really fun working with these projects with her, Norma Bryan. So that's a good review. And when you talk about somebody, it sounds like there was a lot of work that was done there with Norma, and she has a great appreciation for what you're doing. Tell us a little, why did you get into this stuff? I mean, you've got 30 years of experience doing this stuff, right?
Yes.
Tell us, why did you decide this is what you wanted to do?
Design was always, that was always my passion. And I truly do enjoy giving the client what they see it in their mind, but they just don't know how to execute it. So, and the gratification that I get out of putting it all on paper, presenting it to them, ordering all of the product, having the contractor install it and put it all into play, and then the resident or the homeowner walks in and they are just in wow. So that's why I do this.
Tell me one particular time, if you would, where you really felt like you really helped a client. They were in a tough situation, maybe got left hanging by somebody who didn't do their job, and now you've got to come in and fix it. Do you have a particular instance you can think of?
Yes, there was actually one very good instance. I did a lot of work down at One Cardinal Way when in the process of being built in the middle of the pandemic, and residents couldn't get into the units to see sizing and all of that stuff. But one particular thing is when baseball finally came into play, there was one of the players that was supposed to have room darkening drapes in their room because they sleep all odd hours and everything. So we got a phone call and said, we need to have drapes in there by tomorrow. And, you know, they were these big, huge windows, floor to ceiling, and we were able to help them out with that. So he was actually able to sleep that night.
Well, we want our baseball buddies and the guys that
Yes.
are going to be performing on the mound right across the street from One Cardinal Way. That's an incredible note. Yeah, I mean, One Cardinal Way it's one of the most famous buildings in St. Louis by now, because literally you're across. I've been there a number of times.
Oh,
I've been
gorgeous.
in the pool. Been in, a bunch of my buddies have places there, and it's like you can fall out the window. Not that you would fall out the window. You would land almost inside
the stadium.
In the stadium, right?
Right.
And I was one of the guys I was visiting. Like, we were up on the 14th floor, and like, if I'd have got a couple running start, I could throw a ball. I can still throw a ball,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, into the stadium. You know, he's pretty easily looking at that. I was like, I could even kick a football there. I guess I know they played football, but that's how close you are in the view, and you can watch the game.
Oh, yes.
How neat was that to be part of that whole?
That was fantastic. We had a corner unit that we were working out of through the whole process, and it was great being able to. We actually did get to see a couple of the games that with no one in the stadium.
Right, yeah, when they had our situation where a couple of years ago where there was things that were kind of crazy in our world.
But life's gotten better today.
Yeah. Well, I was actually going to do an interview with them, and I knew who to talk to, and they said come in, and so before it was finished, and it was going to be there, and then I called back, and they're like, we can't let anybody in right now, and all the stuff that's going on. But hey, man, the world has turned around here. I think we've got a lot of great stuff, and the world kind of goes through cycles. I don't even get into the whole. Yeah. That's just the way the world goes, and we're doing awesome stuff now. But it's just so much fun to have somebody like yourself who really does have the expertise that makes a big difference for the stuff that really matters when you get down to it. And you're connected with so many of the contractors and the people who actually do the work.
Definitely.
Right? You're the one who coordinates a lot of that work, and they like to work with you because that's stuff they don't want to do, right?
Exactly.
But you handle it to make sure it gets done and looks beautiful at the end, right?
Right. So we work with a lot of general contractors and restoration companies, and we will work with their clients so they don't have to. They can move on to what they do best. If they're a project manager, they can move on to the next project. And we are still with that client from finish to end, or from start to finish. And we'll put the designs together. We ask them what type of cabinets they want. And the contractor doesn't want to deal with any of that stuff. Backsplashes and lighting and all of that. But we will go as far as ordering all the product and then having it job site delivered, and then they can bring the guys back and get everything installed.
Okay. Tell me a particular challenge that you've had. If there's one challenge, I mean, everybody's starting a business because we want people to share a little bit, not necessarily a failure. Maybe it's something you go, well, that just didn't work out. Well, we learned a lot. But what would be one big challenge over your many years in the industry that you saw that was like, wow, we learned a lot from that? It's something people aren't going to know about that realize it might happen, and you're an expert because of that now.
Right. Well, we've had, we had one manufacturer that we were using for cabinetry. Well, we know that, lead times and supply chain issues and things like that. So we actually had to overcome that by bringing in several different other suppliers. And it's worked out well for us because now there's a variety of different levels that we can sell to clients or we can provide to them. If it is you're on a low budget, that's fine. We can work with you on that. But if you want to get into something that's a lot more custom, we do still have those available for us.
Wow, it's the key stuff that people need to realize. It's not something you're going to understand easily if you're trying to walk in and get this stuff done. I know the people that are the do-it-yourselfers. I'm guilty of that at times.
We all are.
And it's just like, gosh, I spent 16 hours doing that. It could have taken me 3 if I'd have just paid somebody to come in and do it.
Right.
What is your time better spent doing, right? Is your time better spent fixing things that kind of get mostly done, or is it spent going off and making a living at what you're good at and then making lots of money so you can just pay somebody to do it, right?
Definitely.
How many people try to do it the other way around and they end up, who those people are because you can see their houses look the way they do or whatever.
Well, and then we get that phone call because the cabinets didn't fit or they measured incorrectly or whatever. But there's some beautiful homes out there that these do-it-yourselfers, they watch a lot of HGTV. So.
Well, tell me a little bit. If somebody says, Sharon, I'm ready to hire you. Mm-hmm. What's the process? What's the process somebody goes through to do that?
Well, typically our process is a 4-step process. So we have that conversation over the phone, and I ask them to put together a wish list and try and come up with a budget of what they have set aside to spend on this project. And then we will actually put pen to paper and get measurements done and talk about what they want it to look like. And then we'll put drawings together. We actually do computer drawings so they can visually see what the project is going to look like when it's completed. Because a lot of people they're just not visual people. So this puts it out in front of them. Then once it's all approved, we do all the ordering, everything gets shipped into the warehouse, and then everything is job site delivered. So we can make that happen in a matter of a month, or depending upon if you've got high-end custom cabinets, it can take 2 or 3 months.
Well, again, so much that goes into it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this interview, I might have to edit this a little bit because I normally mention this is a 15-minute spot we have that we wanted to highlight somebody in the community. And this interview is going over 15 minutes. So if you want to watch the entire interview, check it out on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our TikTok, on our Instagram.
All the social
media. You got to have all of those things out there these days. And we get some of our videos have been seen 195,000 times and other kinds of crazy stuff that just because what we do in the community and what we try to emphasize is the word gets out there a little bit, and we love to share that. So check that stuff out and check out this full interview that you'll see out there.